The first question, we're going to be filling in our table. The table shows the results of a telephone survey asked students if they expect to purchase items online in the next month. They filled in the missing values, so we need to fill in the missing. How many total answered yes? When I look, I had 60 freshmen that said yes, and 68 sophomores, which would add up to 128. So we added straight down. How many total students said no? Is that true? Okay. Then I need to find how many total freshmen are there as I go this direction.
125.
Then I add those together. And I'm going to double check my work. When I add these up for the total, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I check and make sure I get the same answer adding this way for my total. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 would make it 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 and 1 make it 2. So I can check my work. It should match if I add it this way or this way. Next question. Are avid readers more likely to wear glasses than those who read less frequently? A sample of people in Ohio were selected at random and characterized as to whether they wore glasses, yes, or did not wear glasses, no. They were also asked about the amount of reading they do, above average, average, or below. The results are presented in the following table. How many people do not wear glasses? When you look at the table. Anybody know? Do not wear glasses.
180.
I look at the no column. The total?
180.
180. How many people are average readers and wear glasses? Average reader wears glasses.
152.
52. Good. And the last question asks, how many people were below average readers? So I look at below average, the total is 103. So we're just starting to read tables. Any questions? Okay, turn the page. For our first section for the set, we are going to find the mean, median, and mode. It says that the highway mileage, miles per gallon for a sample of 8 different models of car companies can be found below. Find the mean, median, and mode and standard deviation. Round to 1 decimal place as needed. So I'm going to first do the mean. I know how to do that. You're going to add them all up. divide by 8 because that's how many cars were in the sample. The mileage. When I do that, 19 plus 22 plus 26, 27, 29, 31, 35, 35. 224 divide by 8. $2.24 divided by 8 is 28 miles per gallon. That is the mean. If I do the median, I need to put them in order. They're in order already, huh?
Yeah.
Gonna check that. Are you okay if I just check it off? 2, 3, 4. What is between 27 and 29? If I needed to calculate it, I would do 27 plus 29 and then divide it in half. If I needed help finding the middle number. Which number occurred the most for the mode?
35.
35 occurred the most. That is my mode. The new section is the standard deviation. There is a formula to do it. I'll show you it and you can try it on your homework if you want, but I'll show you an easier way to do it on a calculator. So the formula would be my miles per gallon minus 19 squared plus my mean minus my miles per gallon squared. Plus then you would divide by 8 because that's how many of the distances there are and square root it, the whole thing. How many of you would want to type that in?
What did you do?
Oh, right. Okay. So instead of typing this whole thing in, I programmed your calculator that you have been using. It's the exact same calculator that we've been using before the break. So I'm going to use Desmos, and I'm going to show you how it will complete that for you. All right, this is going to be interesting. Okay, I'm going to share window. Nope. Share a tab. Okay. So whenever you have your calculator, I'm just going to, this is how you would enter it in. You'll notice that that's how it shows or appears on your assignment. It has the 5HYUU. You have to have this after the calculator section. Reload. It will reload it fresh. So every time you want to do a new problem, you can refresh it and it will give you a blank. I'm going to enter in my data. My first number is 19. My second number is 22. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. There's 8 numbers. 26, 27, 29, 31, 35. Oh, man. Sorry. I need to fix that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers in my list. First 22, then 26, 27, 29. As I scroll down, you have used the linear model before to build the line, which we'll do again tomorrow. This is an exponential. I don't need the exponential. This is a quadratic. I don't need it. What does this say? Standard deviation. What is my standard deviation? Instead of typing all of this in and just putting the values into my calculator. 5.3619. What happens when I round it to 1 decimal place? 5.4. So I'm going to write 5.4 as my standard deviation. Is that a little easier? Okay. That's why. Perfect. Does anybody need to see me type that in again to find it? I agree. So when I did it on the homework, I used the formula and it sets it off a few decimals, and I'll explain why. So do you see how this is a whole number? On your assignment, this mean may have a longer decimal value. So I wouldn't have to type 28. I'd be typing 28.53956 minus the number. So you have to make sure you don't use the rounded version. You use the whole version in this formula if you use it. Just be careful of decimals. If I round up here a tiny bit and I put it into this formula, that's 8 times that I've used a small adjustment, which would make it a bigger problem later. It would make my answer off. I need to double check what was the number again for the standard deviation? 5.4. Last 2 questions, we're just reviewing recursive and explicit. I look for my pattern. What is that subtracting each time?
7.
So I would have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Then I would have 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a 5. 50. Negative 50. Any questions on the pattern? Recursive would be f of x equals f of x minus 1 with my pattern, minus 7. Explicit, f of x equals, I'm going to pick a point from my problem. I'm going to use the negative 22 and the 1. And my pattern is -7. So when I place it in, I have my slope. X minus, I place the 1 in. Then I have the minus 22 on the end. I don't know if the colors help or make the colors a little more confusing. Any questions on the linear, explicit, or recursive? Then we have the exponential. I look for the pattern. It went from 2 to 1 to 1/2. It's dividing it by 2 every time. So that means that my next question, if I cut this in half, I would have 1 over 2 times 2 is 4. Then I would have 1 over 4 times 2 is 8. The bottom is being multiplied by the 2. Recursive would be f of x equals f of x minus 1 with the multiply by 1/2. The explicit would be f of x equals my pattern goes on the inside of the parentheses. Then I pick a number from my table. I'm going to use the 1 and the 2. When I start with 2, it is cut in half. Notice they're right by each other, they're side by side. 2 is cut in half. But because I started with 2, I need to tell x that it needs to be back 1.
If you were to pick 2 and 1, would it just be x minus 2?
Oh, the one below it. Yeah, let's try that one. So if you pick the point, if you pick the point 1, this is a 1 here. It's multiplied by a half. Those are side by side. Then I would have to say x is minusing 2. Okay. The x will align with the number in the x column if you want to double check. Did anybody use a different point that they want me to check for them? All right, you are good to work. Let me know if you have any questions.